Hello, welcome to the European Open Briefing for Thursday, November the 16th. I'm Rafi Barjan, currency analyst at XM.com, and we're going to be taking a look at the latest developments in the currency markets today. The US dollar has rebounded somewhat this morning. We saw that sell-off yesterday on the back of the risk-off sentiment, which was partly driven by fresh concerns about the US tax plan. The euro has come off from its one-month highs it touched yesterday against the US dollar. The Australian dollar remains under pressure, though. It hit a fresh 4-month low, despite the fact that we had fairly decent jobs numbers out of Australia. And the pound is steady ahead of more UK data. This morning we've got retail sales numbers coming up, and Bank of England Governor Mark Carney will also speaking later today. Let's begin though with the US dollar. We can see dollar yen and the dollar index both touched near 4-week lows yesterday. There were renewed concerns about the US tax plan after the Senate made some unpopular changes to the plan. Those changes have met strong criticism by some Republicans, and given the fact that in the Senate the Republicans have a majority of just 2 senators, there are concerns that the negotiations to reach an acceptable tax plan could take some time, potentially leading to a delay in the tax plan till the first quarter of 2018 rather than the end of 2017, as Republicans are hoping for at the moment. But the US House of Representatives will be voting on the tax plan, its version of the plan today, and that will likely get approved given the fact that the House version differs from the Senate version, and so far there seems to be broad agreement with the House Republicans on its version of the plan. But we had more good positive US data yesterday that did help the dollar rebound. US core inflation rose for the first time in October since January. Retail sales also beat expectations, and September's very strong reading was revised even higher. And we also have a number of FOMC members speaking this week. Earlier today we had Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren maintaining his hawkish view. He supports a December rate hike and more rate hikes over the coming months. We're going to have more Fed speakers later today. Let's look at gold prices now. We can see gold hit a near 4-week high of $1,289 an ounce at the height of that risk-off sentiment yesterday, before quickly retreating and dropping below $1,280 at the moment. Gold is looking rather neutral, around $1,277 an ounce, and we are also seeing US yields recover in line with the dollar. We're seeing the 2-year yields hitting fresh 9-year highs this morning as a December rate hike gets closer, but we can see that the yield on 10-year yields hasn't been keeping up. Although it is up this morning, it's not nearly as much up as the 2-year yields, and that flattening yield curve has led to some market participants speculating that the US economy could be heading towards a recession, as the last time that the spread between the 2-year and 10-year yields was this small was and just before the financial crisis in 2007. But overall risk sentiment is up. As I said, Asian markets closed higher this morning, and Europe is also it opened higher as well. And commodities are also seeing a bit of a rebound. Oil recovered strongly yesterday, despite the fact that US crude stocks rose unexpectedly in yesterday's EIA weekly report. Let's move on to European currencies now. We can see the euro is looking a bit more bullish now. Yesterday it hit a 1-month high of $1,1860 on the back of that GDP numbers we had this week out of Germany and many other Eurozone countries as well, with Central and Eastern European countries also recording strong growth in the third quarter. There's more Eurozone data today with the final reading of October inflation. And tomorrow the focus will be Mario Draghi. He will be speaking in Frankfurt. The euro is also up strongly against the pound, briefly rising above 0.90. That's a 4-week high, a 4-week low for the pound. But the pound, though, against the dollar has managed to remain above $1.31. We had quite a bit of UK data this week. The pound hasn't seen much reaction to that data. Yesterday's jobs report was mixed. We saw a surprise drop in employment in the 3 months to September, but wage growth came in slightly above expectations. So overall, it's fairly neutral for the pound against the US dollar. Retail sales numbers are coming up later today. They're expected to show the first annual drop since 2013. Maybe that might see more of a reaction in currency markets. And Bank of England Governor Mark Carney and two of his deputies will be speaking later today. Let's move on to the Australian dollar now, because we did have employment numbers out of Australia. We saw the unemployment rate in Australia dropping to a 4.5-year low of 5.4% in October versus expectations and the prior figure of 5.5%. Employment has risen now in Australia for the 13th straight months, and although employment growth wasn't as much as expected, there was a strong growth in full-time jobs, and growth in full-time jobs is a strong indication of a strong economy. That did help the Aussie rebound from fresh 4-month lows of 0.7569 against the dollar. We had a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. The Aussie fell sharply because of that miss in the headline employment figure, but then it did recover on the back of the details of the report, which we saw that growth in full-time jobs, and of course that big dip yesterday, given on the back of that wage growth numbers, which saw wage growth rising by less than expected during the third quarter in Australia. And overall, that underlines the outlook for Australian inflation. We already saw very weak third quarter inflation numbers, so today's jobs numbers hasn't really made much of a difference to the outlook for how soon the RBA will be raising rates there. Looking at today's economic calendar, we've got the retail sales, Eurozone inflation coming up in the European session. In the US session, we're going to see the Philly Fed manufacturing index, the weekly jobless claims, industrial output numbers as well, plus Canadian manufacturing sales figures as well. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney and Ben Broadbent and John Carfley, the two deputies, will be speaking at 14 hours GMT, plus a number of FOMC members, including Loretta Mester, Lyle Brainerd, Robert Kaplan, and John Williams. So all of that should attract some attention. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.